Welcome to our 13th battle report in the Abyssal Realms. In this battle report, we go into the deep and see a rematch of our battle from Episode 3, the Ancients of Atalan versus the Scaly Horde in this 800-point matchup. After the draw in the battle over the wreckage over the Trafalgar, the Atalans withdrew to their territory, away from Catan and his Scaly Horde, in order to gather new forces and call upon Alahal the Immortal to aid in their search for the ancient relics. The Atalans were foiled in their plans to recover all the artifacts stolen by the fortune hunters on that day. They now have a new mission, to strike down the upstart Scaly Horde and clear a path for a larger strike force to revisit the site of the Trafalgar and recover the artifacts. Alahal, having been on a campaign supporting his people defending an outpost near Blood Reef, has returned to help Alahal the Elder strike back at the Scaly Horde, having narrowly survived a vicious attack from a direfish lizard in that now distant battle. Upon Alahal's return, he provides a small force with targeting devices and his own formidable rifle and blade, and leads the search for the Scaly Horde on his way back to the Trafalgar wreck. On their way, they run into a Scaly Horde hunting party, and the battle commences. In this 800-point game, we pit the Ancients of Atalan versus the Scaly Horde. The Ancients list is a fairly heavily focused long-range list, and the Scaly Horde is listed as a pretty close combat-focused list. Let's see how they do. First, let's talk about the Ancients of Atalan list. I recently got these models and wanted to start my own small Atalan force, and wanted to see how well they performed. Here's the list. This is my Atalan force of 786 points. It is led by Alahal the Immortal, and it's got 2 assault troopers, a couple of mechs, and Alahal the Elder. This is really intended to be a high-punch, long-range force trying to take the enemy out at a distance. Alahal and the 2 assault troopers have extra equipment that I granted them and paid the points, 10 points apiece for targeting crystals. So we'll talk about that as we go through the models, but let's go through each one of these models and talk a little bit about them. Okay, the leader of the Atalan force today is Alahal the Immortal. He's a commander of Atalan. He's a personality model. He's quality 2 and combat 4. He is a leader, amphibious, shooter long, ether tech 3, and big, and he has a combo attack 2 hit. So he has ether tech 3, so he can use all ether tech devices. He's big, so he's +1 to target smaller enemies in combat. He has combo attack. If the model attacks on its turn and causes a wound, he can redo remaining actions and attack again. He is armed with a hypercavitation cannon, which is a projectile long +2, armor break 4, and reload 1 action. His hand-to-hand weapon is a fusion blade, which is the spear. It's hand-to-hand +2 and armor break 3 and breach +2. He also has an armored fist, which is +0. He has an ancient suit of armor, which is pretty beefy armor in the head and body and legs, armor 4. And it's powered and gets +1 against his strength checks. He has advanced water jets, so every other turn he can do a long move, and then the turn that he can't do it is it recharges the propulsion system. He has an environmental shield, which energy attacks against him are -2. He's got a crystal imager, so he's got essentially deep eyes. I also gave him a targeting crystal, which gives him +2, essentially a precise shot with his hypercavitation cannon. These 2 guys are assault soldiers. They are quality 4, combat 2. He is a shooter long, ether tech 2, and marine. He is armed with a hypercavitation rifle, which is projectile long +2. He's got a micro edge blade for his hand-to-hand combat weapon, which is precise and fragile and hand-to-hand +1. His combat suit gives him an armor value of 2 and reflects on the resistance rolls. He also has a propulsion system, and he has a swimming ability. He's got a crystal imager, so he's essentially got deep eyes as well. I also gave him a targeting crystal, so he's got the precise rule on his hypercavitation rifle. So these guys are going to hang out with Alahal and try to pick off enemies from a distance. This is Alahal the Elder, the technologist of Atalan. He is quality 2 and combat 2. He's a personality model. He's an animist, shooter, medium, greedy, corrupted, and marine. He's an animist, so he gives +1 activation for artificial mech constructs, which we have 2 of in this list. He's a shooter, and so he's got a pistol that he can shoot with. He's greedy, so if he's near treasure, he tries to go after it. Corrupted, which makes physical activities and resistance checks and will at -1, except for morale. He is armed with a beam pistol, which is energy medium +1, precise, and refract. He's also got an arm blade, which is hand-to-hand +0. And again, his beam pistol is precise. He's in an Enviro suit, which is very light armor, and really the idea with Matlal is that he hangs back. He can cast a elemental conjuration spells, but he's really intended to hang back and support the mechs and give them bonuses to their activation. This is the Hydroform mech. It is Quality 4, Combat 3. It is Artificial, Ether Tech 2, Shooter, and Marine. It's a mech construct, so it's immune to poison, psychic magic spells, and morale and madness, and it cannot be gruesomely killed. It's a Shooter Long, so its weapons have long range, and it only operates underwater with the Marine special ability. It has a beam rifle as its primary weapon, which is Energy Long +2. It's precise and refract. Lightning Tentacles, which cause hand +2. They do shock, entangle, and armor break 1. Its armor is pretty decent. It's got head and body and leg armor of 3, and it's got a propulsion system, so it's swimming. It's also got a crystal imager, which essentially gives it deep eyes. And the last model on the Atalan force is a Mantiform Hunter-Killer mech construct. It is Quality 4, Combat 4. It's got Tough, Artificial, Amphibious, Big, Ether Tech 2, Shooter Long, and Rapid Shot. It's tough, so it's got extra wounds. Amphibious, so it can operate on land and water. It's big, so it's +1 against smaller models. Range attack against it is +1. It's got a long-range shooting ability and fast reload. It does not need to spend an action to reload its weapons, which is very good. Its weapons are a Hypercavitation Cannon, and it's got 2 of those, so it's got Projectile Long, Armor Break 4, and Reload 0 with Fast Load. It's also got a Beam Cannon, which is Energy Long +3, Armor Break 1, Precise and Refract, and Mechanical Tentacles, which is Hand-to-Hand +1, Entangle, and Unbreakable. It's got pretty heavy armor at head, body, and legs at 3, and it's got a propulsion system and crystal imager like a Hydroform mech. So this is the big beefy mech that takes pot shots at heads and other subsystems as per the precise special rule, and we'll be probably seeing him take some pot shots during the game. Now let's go over the Scaly Horde list. Alright, this is my close to 800 point list of Scaly Horde. It's led by a Dagathonian Reef Lord. He's got a Dagathonian Deep Caller as his buddy to control the War Beasts. On the War Beast side, we've got a Direfish Lizard, a Hag Ray, and a Steeljaw Placoderm. We've also got a giant anglerfish to round out the heavies on this list. We've also got a Draconid Warrior to round out the troop side. In addition to that, we've got a Draconid Sea Demon Shaman. He's going to be casting the spells in support of this list today. So this is a little bit of a War Beast heavy list, but we've got some support from the Draconids as well. So it should be interesting to see if these guys can get across the table and do some damage to the Atalans. Okay, our mission today is Skirmish. John, tell us a little bit about that.
Skirmish is a battle where both sides fight until the last warband standing kills all enemies, causing them to flee where the turn limit ends. The victory conditions are you get 1 victory point per killed or fleeing troop model, 2 victory points per killed or fleeing personality model, 3 victory points per killed or fleeing leader, hero, or sea shaman, and 5 victory points if you are the last warband standing, have the most remaining models.
Got it. Okay, so this mission is all about engaging and destroying the enemy. You can see the table here. So we're going to dice for attacker and defender, and we're going to come back with our deployment. Okay, my opponent Craig and I are going to be battling today. Craig is going to be playing the Atalans. I will be playing the Scaly Horde. We got a dice off for attacker defender, so the blue die is me, and the red die is Craig. Craig, let's go ahead and roll for first turn, attacker and defender. Here we go. All right, Craig, it looks like you are the attacker and I am the defender. We're going to come back and deploy, and then we'll get started. All right, Craig won the roll-off for attacker-defender, so he deployed first. Craig, let's talk real quick about your deployment. What's your thinking process here?
Well, I certainly want to keep all my models close to their leaders so they can benefit on those activation bonuses.
Right, we've got Matlal back there behind the Hydroform. Or the Mantiform, excuse me.
And Matlal's pretty squishy, so that's why I've got him in the back. I don't want you to sneak around and eat him with one of your creatures.
No, especially that Direfish Lizard, who is the guided missile of the Scaly Horde. All right, so for the Scaly Horde, we've pretty much got a medium stick deployment as per normal on a 3x3 table, as we do here on Cranky Old Gamer. So we've got the Reef Lord there taking center. We've got the War Beasts on the right flank, and we've got the Critters on the left flank, And basically, we're going to try to get across that table. We don't really have much range to speak of, so we need to move quickly across the table to engage those guys in hand-to-hand, because they're great at shooting, not so good in hand-to-hand, so we're going to try to get them engaged in combat as quickly as we can. Today's environment is going to be shallow shelf and ultra clear water, so that means 4 long sticks visibility and no need for deep eyes due to abyssal realm, and no abyssal zone. Okay, we are going to set the environment today as shallow shelf and ultra clear visibility, so that means 4 long sticks of visibility and no need for deep eyes due to the abyssal zone. So we're going to move on to first turn Atalans. Okay, top of turn 1 Atalans. Craig, what are we doing?
Well, usually I'm a little over-aggressive at times in games like this, so I think I'm going to go ahead and try to get some long-range shooting done right off the bat to see if we can start doing some damage.
Okay, so discretion being the better half of valor and leveraging that Atalan long-range ability. Okay, exactly. What are we going to do?
So Alahal over here, I'm going to go ahead and do a multiple activation on him.
Okay, he activates on
Quality 2.
All right, here we go. Got 3 activations. Okay. Okay, so you've got 3 actions. Craig, what are we going to do?
Well, Alahal is going to go ahead and use his jets.
Yep, his propulsion system. You can use that every other turn to do a long move. So jet up a little bit. Oh, we're getting a little aggressive, are we? Okay. Right. So what do you got up your sleeve?
Right, so that's one of his activations.
Uh-huh.
The second one, he's going to go ahead and aim at the direfish.
Oh, boy.
And then go ahead and then use this last activation to fire.
Okay, so you're gonna do. Help us work that out. Is that you're gonna target a subsystem?
Right. His locomotion is a little bit squishy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hopefully try to slow down or immobilize that fast-moving unit.
Okay, gotcha. So let's work through the dice math, John. What do we got?
So he is a combat 4. His weapon is +2, so that's dice +6. He is 3 long sticks away, but it is an aim shot, so that has a -2, so he's dice +4. But he's also firing on a large target, so dice +5. -2 for targeting a subsystem, but +2 because of precise.
Right. So we're overall a dice plus
5.
Dice +5, and since you're doing 1 aim, the direfish lizard is dice +3. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So dice +5 versus dice +3. Here we go. Oh my. Okay, so you are 11 and I am 4. So you almost tripled him. So you definitely did 2 wounds to the locomotion. How many wounds does he have?
2. He's immobilized.
Oh my god, immobilized the direfish lizard on turn 1. Good shooting. Okay, so the direfish lizard just took 2 wounds to his locomotion, which per the new rules, the 2.5F also does a single wound to the body, which doesn't really matter that much, but he is essentially immobilized for the rest of the game. Good shooting, Craig. All right, what's next?
All right, next up, I'm going to go over to Motlow here.
Okay.
And do a multi-activation.
All right, and are you intending to channel spell points?
I am.
Okay, fantastic. Let's see what you get. Quality 2. You got 3 spell points, buddy.
All right, I'm going to save those all up.
All right.
All right, so these assault soldiers, they do pretty good ranged weapons, but not nearly as skilled as their leaders. So
right.
They cannot hit with this extreme range. So I'm going to go ahead and do a simple activation.
Oh, okay.
Both of these guys.
Yep.
Just to make things easy.
Get them a little closer. I think that's not a terrible idea since the direfish lizard is essentially taken out of action for the game. That long downtown threat range is kind of nullified. So moving them up, kind of keeping them central, but moving them up, getting them in range for a turn 2 shot that might be pretty effective, might be a good thing. Okay, so you've activated those guys. Who's next?
All right, so for the Mantiform, I'm going to push my luck a little bit. He's quality 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and try for some additional activation.
Heroic activation. Okay. All right, Craig, so that Mantiform mech has 4 actions. What are you going to do with all that action?
Wow, I'm feeling pretty hot with my dice. So he's going to go ahead and move a little closer.
Okay.
So he'll have a little more range on his shooting attacks.
Okay.
Then I'm thinking about, with his beam cannon, going ahead, and now that he's within 3 long sticks,
yeah,
take a shot at your leader.
Okay.
And he's going to go ahead and aim
Yep.
with one of his actions, and then for the next 2 actions, I'm going to try to do 2 shots, the first of which being an aimed headshot.
Okay, so you moved up, that's one action. An aimed headshot is your next 2 actions, and you're reserving that 3rd action to see what we get. Okay, so John, what's the dice math on that?
Is combat 4, the beam cannon is +3, so it's base dice of 7.
Mm-hmm.
There is a -2 on that for range, so that puts you at dice +5. There's -4 on a headshot, so that would be +1, but there's +2 because the weapon is precise, so that is a total of dice +3.
Okay, and so the Dagathonian Reef Lord is normally combat 3. With an aim, I'm -1 to my attack score, so I'm dice +2. So we're dice +3 versus dice +2. Here we go! Ugh. Oh my, so I think you hit. So you are an 8 and I am a 5.
Yep.
So you hit him in the head. Okay, Craig, so you've got one more action. What do you want to do with it?
I'm going to go ahead and take a second shot since I got that first one.
Oh, God! Okay, what's the dice math on that?
Well, since I'm no longer aimed, I'm just going to be a dice +1.
Right, because you don't get the benefit of the range, right? And so I am just regular dice +3, right?
Yep.
So Craig is dice +1, I'm dice +3. Here we go! So you're a 4 and I'm a 7, so I think that's just a whiff.
5 to 6.
5 to 6, sorry. Math is hard. All right, so that is it for the Mantiform. Let's move on to the next guy. All right, Craig, you got one more model. What are we going to do?
All right, so with the Hydroform mech, he's going to go ahead and do multi-activation.
Okay, here we go. All right, so you've got 2 actions on that guy.
Well, it's a bit of a long shot, literally.
Yeah.
So I'm at... just going to go ahead and aim.
I see what you did there. That was very clever.
And then go ahead and try to shoot at this dude right here.
The deep color?
The deep collar, right. Since he controls a lot of your creatures, if I can slow him down...
It's probably a good idea. All right, so we've measured that, and that's 4 long sticks away, a little under 4 long sticks. So let's work through the math. So you're combat 3.
Right.
And you're going to spend your 2nd point for aiming.
Yep, and his beam rifle gives him a +2.
So your overall combat score is +1. And so the Dagathonian Deep Collar is normally combat 3. Craig did 1 aim, so I'm at combat 2. So it's 2 versus 1 on this. So here we go. Let's see what happens. Oh, God. Well, you actually hit. Let's see. What does that mean? So you're actually 2.
I missed.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, you missed. So basically a whiff on that. And that is the top of turn 1. We're going to go to the bottom of turn 1 to the Scaly Horde. Okay, bottom of turn 1. I'm going to start with my Dagathonian Sea Demon Shaman. He's within a long stick of my Reef Lord, so I'm going to try to do some multiple activations on him to channel spell points. So that'll be on 2s. So he's got 3 spell points, so that's great. Next up, I'm going to go to the Dagathonian Deep Collar. He's going to try to activate on 3s. Actually, is he on 2s? Yep, he's within a long stick of my leader, so he activates on 2s. So that's 3 actions. Okay, so I got 3 actions on that guy. We're just going to have him move up. Right there. Stay within a long stick of all my beasts, which is great. He can't really move anymore, and I don't have a healer to heal him. So he's stuck there, so I'm not really super worried about blocking his trajectory. Next up, we're just going to go through all the war beasts. So he is a quality 3 model, so I'm going to try to activate him on 2s, see if I can move him up. So he's got 3 actions. 1, 2. So we're just going to drop him. That's a little less than 3, but we're just going to drop him right there. Next up is the Placoderm. So he's within a long stick of the Deep Collar. Let's try him on 3s. Nope. He gets 1 action. I have to turn over the turn. So he's going to move up right next to his buddy. And it's over to the Atalans, turn 2. Okay, top of turn 2, Atalans. Craig, what do we got?
Well, Matlaw's got 3 points stored up that he needs to use this turn.
He sure does.
So I'm going to go ahead and multi-activate him.
Okay.
And as a reminder, do I need to declare spellcasting before I roll?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try to do Phosphorescent Glow.
Okay, and tell us the logic behind that.
Well, Right now, I'm really relying on my force's ability to shoot you faster before you can get to me and eat
Right.
me.
Yeah, and my turn was not stellar, but still, if I get across the table and I engage in you in hand-to-hand, it's pretty much over for you.
Right.
So
the phosphorescent glow allows me to drop a zone. That's a short stick radius, and any of your models in that zone, I get a +2 to hit.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's see what you get in terms of activation. Not bad, not bad. So 2 actions. So you've already got 3 stored up, so that gives you 5 spell points.
Exactly.
Or you can do move and cast.
Right, you can use those actions to do stuff. So let's come back and see what we did. Okay, so you've got those 5 spell points, or 5 action points. What are you going to do with them?
Well, because I'm so far away, I'm going to have him not move and just pump those all into giving me more range.
Okay.
The spell allows me to cast it 1 medium stick per spell point used.
Wow, okay.
So I can reach out along 5 sticks.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to go ahead and place that zone centered right around here. We went ahead and measured that earlier.
Okay, so let's use that red dice for now at least. And we'll replace that with a dice that you're not using. So you want to put it essentially there, or do you want to put it closer, farther? What do you think?
I think you can inch it up a little bit closer.
I think per the measuring, you could put it right there if you wanted to. Well, maybe not quite that far. You could put it right about there if you wanted to. Does that look good?
Looks good.
Okay, so you're going to drop that, and so basically that gives you +2 to shooting, right?
Correct.
Craig, what's next?
So next, I'm going to try to activate Alahal and see how many actions I get.
Okay.
Got 3.
You got 3 actions. Okay, so he is ready to go, except he needs to reload that thing, doesn't he?
Correct.
Okay.
So he's going to use 1 action to reload.
We're just using that upside down counter to make sure that we take into account the reloading. So now you've got 2 actions.
And then he's going to go ahead and aim for his second action.
Okay, who are you shooting?
I'm going to shoot this gentleman.
The unfortunately wildly out of position deep color. Okay, Craig, you had 3 actions. You took the first one to reload. What are you going to do with the other 2?
So he's going to go ahead and aim.
Yep.
And then make a called headshot.
Oh boy. At the deep collar?
The deep collar.
Oh boy. John, walk us through the math there, bud.
So he is combat 4. His weapon is dice +2, so that takes you up to 6.
Yep.
He has -2 for range, so that takes you to 4.
Yep.
There's -4 for the headshot, but +2 for the weapon being precise, so that takes you to 2.
Yep.
There's +2 for the phosphorescent glow, so he has dice +4.
Right, we use that black dice to indicate the center of the phosphorescent glow. So the deep color is normally combat 3. I'm being aimed at, so I'm dice -1. So I'm dice +2, and Craig, you are dice +4. Let's see what happens! Oh. Oh. Oh, God. I think you exploded his head, bud.
Well, he has 2 wounds there.
I think his head just popped, so he's dead. Okay, so my deep color just got gruesomely killed by getting headshot by Alahal. John, that has some implications. Let's walk through that.
Yeah, being a gruesome killed any models within a long stick have to take a morale check. That is only the steel-jawed placoderm.
Right.
There's another rule though that if your shaman dies, then if your war beasts fail a morale check, they don't leave the table; they go wild. But
Right.
since the shaman is still alive, we don't have to worry about
Right.
that at this point.
Right. So the only morale check we need to do is the steel-jawed placoderm, but we don't need to worry about them going bonkers because the shaman is still on the table. All right, and so the steel-jawed placoderms
Morale 4.
morale 4. So I need to roll 4s. So I think he's okay. If I get 2 failures, then I need to move a medium stick. But since I rolled 2 6s, he seems to be fine. Okay, really good shooting by the Atalans. All right, Craig, what's next?
All right, so we're going to multi-activate the Mantiform mech.
Okay, on 2s?
3s.
On 3s, excuse me.
Right,
Yes, so
we got 2 activations.
2 actions. All right. Okay, Craig, what are we going to do with those 2 actions?
I'm going to go ahead and take 1 to aim, and then the second one to do a called headshot on your leader.
On the Reef Lord. Oh, boy. Picking on that poor Reef Lord. All right. So what's the math on that, John?
So the Maniform is combat 4. Its beam cannon is +3, so space dice +7.
Yep.
There's -2 for range, so that puts it to 5. -2 for the headshot puts it at 3. And the Reef Lord there is combat 3, but -1 for the aim shot, so dice +2.
Okay, so dice +2 for the Reef Lord and dice +3 for the Mantiform. Here we go! Oh, dear God. Oh. Okay, so it's 9 versus 3, so I think you tripled him. He only had 1 wound left on the head, so that makes his head go splat. Now he's dead. And so that was my warband leader, so I think we need to do some morale checks, right, John?
That's correct.
So morale checks warband wide. Okay, so it's 9 versus 3, so I think you tripled him. He only had 1 wound left on the head, so that makes his head go splat. Now he's dead. And so that was my warband leader, so I think we need to do some morale checks, right, John?
That's correct.
So morale checks warband wide. Okay, we're going to start with my morale checks here with the Hag Ray. He's got a will of 3. So he takes 1 medium stick towards the closest table edge, which I believe will take him off the table. Sure will. So he flees. Alright. That's not good. Next up is the Steeljaw Blackaderm. He's got a will of 4. So he's actually fine. Let's see. Next up is the Anglerfish. I'm not going to do the Direfish Lizard because he's immobilized.
But if you roll 3 failures.
That's true. He will fly off the table. So he's got a will of 3. He's totally fine. Anglerfish will of 4. Alright, he's okay. Brute will of 4. He's alright. Shaman will of 3. He's okay. And the Warrior will of 4. He is fleeing off the table. Alright. That was punishing. Good shooting. The gruesome headshot did its work. And I guess we move on to the next model. Alright, Craig. Some pretty impressive shooting so far. Where are we going next?
I'm going to go ahead and try to multi-activate the Hydroform map.
Okay, so he's within a long stick of Mutlal, so 3s?
3s.
Oh, 1 action and they turn over the turn. Oh my god, thank god. What are you going to do with that action, bud?
I'm just going to have him move up a medium stick.
Okay.
So he's a little closer.
Alright, you're going to call that turn? Okay, the Atalans got the Scaly Horde on the ropes. We're going to go on to the bottom of turn 2, Scaly Horde. I'm going to start with my Sea Demon Shaman. I'm just going to try to do multiple activations with him. So activating on 3s. 2 actions. So we are just going to move up. We're going to try to stay away from that vicious Atalan firing. I'm going to put him there. Okay, next up. It's really kind of quality 4 all day long at this point. If I lose 1 more model, I need to take another morale check for half of Warband. So I think since this guy's closest, I'm going to try to move him out of that phosphorescent zone. So he activates on 4s. So 2 actions. I'm going to move him up in the hope that I can just get closer and hopefully get in there and do some damage next turn. Anglerfish activates on 4s as well. And that's a 1. So 2 actions. He's going to move up. See, we're going to put him right there. And the Dagathonian Brute, he activates on 4s. Alright, 2 actions for him. So he's just going to move up. Let's see if we can get engaged at some point here. Let's put him right there. Alright, unfortunately that is Scaly Horde turn. We're going to move over to the top of turn 3. Atalans. Okay, top of turn 3, Craig. What are we doing?
I'm going to go ahead and have Motlil do a little more channeling.
Okay.
Store up some points, hopefully.
Channeling on 2s. Looks like you got what?
You got a couple.
2 successes? Okay.
So let's tuck those away for future.
Okay.
And then Alahal over here is going to also multi-activate.
Alright, on 2s.
Heroic.
Heroic activation. Alright, Craig, so you've got 4 actions on Alahal. What are we going to do with all 4 of those actions?
So first off, he's going to go ahead and reload his rifle.
Yep, that makes sense. So now you're down to 3.
Then he's going to aim twice at the anglerfish.
Oh boy. Okay.
And then I'm going to try to additionally take advantage of number 1, he's still in the glow effect.
Right, which is that black die right there.
Right, and with the precision weapons, I'm going to try again for another headshot.
Oh boy. Okay, so John, let's walk through the math here.
He's combat 4. His weapon is +2, so that's +6. He gets +2 for the zonal effect thing there, so +8. -2 for the headshot is 6. +1 for a large target, so or huge target, so he's dice +7. There's no range penalty because of the aim. He's 2 long sticks away.
Right, and the +2 because of the, or the -2 because of the range.
Aim on the anglerfish, which puts him to dice +2.
Right. So the anglerfish is dice +2, and Craig is dice
+7.
Oh boy. Okay, dice +2 versus dice +7. Oh. 10-4.
So he's doubled.
I think his head is doubled, so that kersplats his head, and he's dead.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, anglerfish, we barely knew ye. Okay, so since the anglerfish was killed with a gruesome kill with a shot to the head, enemies, or my allied units within long stick need to take a morale check, which essentially is the placoderm and the brute. So 4s on the placoderm. He's okay.
Fine.
And the brute is fine. All right, so they're hanging in there, although their buddies are all getting shot to pieces. All right, Craig, let's move on to your next guy.
All right, I'm going to attempt to multi-activate the mantle form.
Okay, so long stick within Matlal, so 3s, right?
Correct.
Here we go. Oh, total failure. Oh,
Turn-ins.
thank goodness. A little bit of reprieve for the Scaly Horde. All right, we're going to go to the bottom of turn 3, Scaly Horde. Okay, bottom of turn 3. I desperately need to get into hand-to-hand if I'm going to salvage this battle at all. So I'm going to start, not ideal because I don't have a deep color, but I'm going to start with my placoderm, and he activates on 4s. 2 actions.
Plus he cruises.
Plus he cruises, so that gives me 1 movement. So
He moved 2 last turn.
He moved 2 last turn, so I can do 1 move.
Yep.
Ooh. I think what we're going to do is we're going to get in with this guy, and we're going to get into some hand-to-hand action. Okay, Scaly Horde has made contact with the enemy. Here we go. So my placoderm has a combat 4, is +1 on his weapon, that's 5, +1 because he's bigger, that's 6, and then +1 because he charged, so that's dice +7. Craig, you are?
My model is quality, but combat 2, and he has a blade that gives him +1, so he's dice +3.
Okay, so 7 versus 3. Here we go. Ooh, I don't like your odds there. So I am 12 and you are 6.
Doubled him.
I doubled you. So he's
dead.
I think he's dead. 2 wounds on the body on that guy.
2 wounds.
All right.
He's not gruesomely killed,
He
though.
is not gruesomely killed, though. So 1 casualty for the Atalans. All right, next up is the Dagathonian Brute. Again, no leader within activation range, so he activates on 4s. So activating on 4s. Hey, look at that. 2 actions. So he moved 2 last time, so I can do a cruise. So there's my cruise. Oh.
You can do a slide and
I
attack.
can do a slide and attack, but I don't get a charge bonus. So you know what? I think that's kind of where we're at, folks. So we're just going to do a slide and attack there. Unfortunately, I did not get enough distance to get a charge, so we're just going to go ahead and do a slide and attack. The Dagathonian Brute is combat 4. He's got +1 for his weapon, which is Big Rending Claw, so my attack dice are 5. Craig, what are you at?
Alahal has combat 4, and his fusion blade gives him +2 for dice +6.
Okay, so it's 5 versus 6. What happens? Oh.
7 versus 6.
7 versus 6. I am armor 1 on my body.
Armor 4 for
Oh, what's your armor break?
Yeah, your fusion blade will have an armor break.
armor break 3.
Okay.
So you definitely hit me, and you do a wound, and I am fallen. Okay, so my last model that I can actually do actions with is my Draconic Sea Demon Shaman. I'm really kind of running out of options here. So I think what I need to do is cast a spell. I'm going to try to cast Acoustic Resonance, and he activates on 3s. So 2 actions. Let's see what that gets me. So I can cast that two things away?
It's a short stick radius.
Yeah, two medium sticks away and a short stick radiance, yeah?
Yep.
So I could...
You can get Alahal in there.
I can get Alahal.
You'll get your own model in Alahal.
Get my own guy in Alahal. So that's what we're going to do.
If terrain doesn't matter, you could in theory angle it to not get your own model.
I don't think I feel good about that because I can see.
I can
put it right there.
I don't think you can because you hit the top end of your.
Right. So 2 medium sticks away is basically centers it right there. It's a short stick radius right there. So basically, I get Alahal and my own guy in an acoustic resonance zone. So that was the bottom of turn 3. The Scaly Horde actually made contact with the enemy. We got a acoustic resonance zone there, so we'll be taking a look at what happens there when we activate. Not gonna lie, it's looking a little rough for the Scaly Horde, but we're actually in contact now, so things might actually happen. Okay, top of turn 4 Atalans. We have contact with the enemy. The Scaly Horde forces are looking pretty bedraggled at this point, but you know what? Once they get in there, that's where they shine. So it's still a game. What are we gonna do, Craig?
Well, Alahal is caught in that zone.
Yes.
And before I activate him, where you would have to make some rolls, I'm going to try if I can get Motlal up there to dispel that zone.
Right. Now, the acoustic resonance zone actually does not allow armor bonuses towards your resistance check. So he actually checks on a 4. So I think it's really smart to try to dispel that thing before Alahal tries to act. So, all right. So, Motlal, what are we doing? Activating on 2s.
Activating on 2s. Unfortunately, I only got 2 activations.
2 actions, okay.
And so I need to be within a short stick of the zone to dispel it, and it takes 2 actions to dispel it. So I'm not going to have enough to get there and dispel.
Yeah, you're not going to have enough gas in the tank to do both. Are you going to move up and hopefully do it next turn then?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and get a little closer and see what we can do from there.
Iron's
All right.
pistol.
It's not a half bad idea. All right, Craig, so you've got 2 actions. You didn't quite make enough to get over to that zone, but you've got a new plan. What's that?
Right, so I'm going to get as close as I need to. So the zone extends to here. It's a short radius.
Yep.
And I only need to be a short away from it.
Right, so you can be that far.
I'm just going to get right to my minimum effort there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do have a pistol, so instead of wasting that second action, I'm going to try to take a pot shot at this placoderm over here.
You might as well, because you know where he's going next.
Exactly.
All right, so what's your dice math?
All right, so his pistol gives him +1, his base combat score is 2, so that's 3.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's just a medium range pistol, he's a little too far away for
Right.
a closer range. So that'll give him -2, so he's dice +1.
Okay, and then I'm big, so that's +1 as well.
Correct.
So you're dice +2, and I'm just combat 4, so I'm 4. So here we go.
Because of precise, I am going to try to shoot your locomotion.
Okay, fantastic. So shooting him in the fins, I guess. Here we go. Oh, interesting.
That's a tie, 5-5.
Okay, so you shot him with your beam pistol. Sorry, I got that wrong in the last clip. So you shot him with your beam pistol. We equaled each other, but in his locomotion, he is armor 3. So unfortunately, no damage there. So actually, since that was a hit but dealt no damage, we do a knockback and advantage. So we knock him back 1 base length, and now there is advantage against the placoderm. Okay, Craig, next up, what's happening?
Alright, so for the assault soldier here, he's going to just do a simple activation of just firing
Okay,
upon your unit here.
okay. We're going to shoot the placoderm.
Right.
What's
so
the math?
His combat is 3.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, his combat 2. His rifle gives him +2, so he's up to dice +4, but you're also a large target, so I get dice +5.
Right, and so are you shooting a subsystem?
I'm going to try to wound his fins.
Okay, sounds good. So that negates the penalty for shooting a subsystem, since we gave him the targeting crystal. So you're dice +5, and I'm just straight combat of dice +4. Here we go! All right, so you are 9, and I am 6. You hit. My armor is 3 on the fins.
So that equals it.
So that equals it. So you did a wound to the fins and a wound to the body.
Yep.
All right. So I am wounded and fallen.
Yep.
Okay, Craig, so you've shot the placoderm with the assault soldier. What's next?
Well, I was thinking about activating the hydroform, but then I realized he's too far away from Matlal to get that bonus to activation. It's a little too risky.
Activating on 4s,
So
not
I'm gonna
ideal.
Go ahead and try to multi-activate the mantiform since he's only activating on 3s.
Got it. Here we go. 3 successes. Nice. Okay, so you got 3 actions. Sounds like you're going to do an aim shot at the placoderm's legs, aka locomotion. So let's walk through the dice math on that.
All right, so mana form is base skill of 4.
Yep.
The cannon has a +3 for 7, and your large target for 8.
Right, I'm big. So you get the +1 there. So I am dice +4 normally. My combat's 4, but -1 because of your aim. So I am dice +3. So 8 versus 3. Here we go.
13 versus 7.
13 versus 7. So you've shot his legs
He is
again.
immobilized.
He is immobilized. He's not doubled, though. So he is immobilized.
1 wound left in the body.
And one, one wound left on the body. Oh, poor fishy. Okay, Craig, so you've got rapid shot on that bad boy, so you get one more shot. What are you going to do with it?
Well, my only target is your poor armored fish there.
Yeah, the placoderm.
So I still have dice +8.
Yep.
Because I didn't aim, I believe you're dice +4.
Dice +4 now, so 8 versus 4. Oh,
13 to 6, doubled him.
he's dead. He is just blown out of the water. His name now is Chum.
Gruesomely killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters. So he's dead. All right, Craig. So Alahal and the Hydroform mech are the only guys that haven't gone yet. What's next?
Well, Hydroform hasn't done a lot this game, so I'm going to see if I can gamble and just do multi-activation. He's quality 4 right now.
Yeah.
1 action.
Ooh, one action
Turn ends.
and turn ends. Not the worst thing in the world.
I'm just going to have him try to get line of sight of the other model.
Oh boy. So I've got 2 models left. Whew. Okay. We're going to go to the bottom of turn 4. Scaly Horde. Okay, so Scaly Horde, bottom of turn 4. For my first action, we're just going to stand him up. But since he has no legs, he can go nowhere. A little bit of a bummer. Alright, so next up, I'm going to try to activate my Sea Demon Shaman on 3s. So 2 actions. Okay, so with my 2 actions, I think I'm just going to try to get around here. That puts him right around here. See if I can stay in cover from that Mantiform, but get a little bit closer for next turn. Okay, so next up, my next action and last action is with my Dagathonian Brute. He's within the acoustic resonance zone, so I need to resist that on 4s before I can roll activation. So 4s. Hey, look at that. He resisted. So now I think since he's fallen, really the only thing I can do is try to do multiple activations. So I'm activating on 4s. Heroic activation.
Nope.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, just 2 actions.
Yeah. He got so excited.
I got so excited. I was like, oh my god, I've got a chance. But 2 actions. So the first one's going to be a stand up, and the second one's going to be an attack.
So you will be at dice +5, and Alahal will be dice +6.
All right, dice +5 versus dice +6. Craig, here we go. Oh! Oh! What happened?
10 to 9.
10 to 9, so I hit you. My armor break is 1.
He has armor 4.
But I do knock you back and get advantage. That's actually kind of the worst result, because now he can shoot me. Okay, so you knock back one base length.
Oh, whole base.
The whole base, yeah.
Wow.
We'll just kind of do this real quick. And boink. There you go. We'll just say he's right there. Like it was. Okay, so that is the end of the bottom of turn 4 for the Scaly Horde. We're going to go to the top of 5, Ancients of Atalan. Okay, top of turn 5, back over to the Atalans. Craig, I think we know what's happening first.
Right, Matlal is going to multi-activate, and I'm going to hopefully get a couple successes so I can dispel
Yep,
that.
just got to get a little closer. Oh, you're in. Okay, so you can do 1 movement and then 2 actions to dispel that zone?
He should be within range because he moved in last turn.
Right,
So
I
let's-
believe you're within range, right?
So the zone edge is right there, and
Yep.
he's right in range, so he'll use his 2 actions to
Yep.
dispel that.
And he
Okay.
does have 1 action left over.
Maybe you can get closer to your Hydroform. Not that it necessarily matters, but
Or you could shoot the Dagathonian with your pistol.
yep, that's true. So 2 actions to dispel that zone. Let's assume that.
Fine.
And then what do you want to do with that last one?
I'm going to go ahead and move over here.
Mm-hmm. Get him within range. There you go. All right, very cool.
All right, so I'm just going to lead into Alahal and multi-activate him.
On 2s. Oh, 2 actions.
2 actions.
Makes things interesting.
I think I'm going to do a slide in an attack.
Oh boy.
Since I'm close enough.
Yep, you sure are. You should be 1 base length away. So slide in attack. So that's 1 action. You could even do a mighty blow with that if you wanted to.
Or if he hits, he can do his...
or the combo, yeah.
Attack.
So you don't get charge bonus here.
Yeah. But you are dice +6, and the Dagathonian is dice +5.
Right.
All right.
Unless you do a mighty blow.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and do a mighty blow.
Okay, so you are dice +6, and I am dice +4. Here we go. Ooh.
9 to 8.
9 to 8. You hit me, and you definitely have enough armor break to get through, so you do a wound to the body, and I am fallen.
All right. So since Motlal is now close enough to give my Hydroform mech a activation bonus, I'm going to multi-activate him and have quality 3.
On 3s. Oh, I saw what looked like another 6, but you got 3 successes there. So what do we want to do?
I'm going to move in over here.
Uh-huh.
So he's going to need to move twice to get there, so that'll be...
So 2 moves and then an attack?
Correct.
So that will be a rush, so you'll get +2 on the attack.
Exactly. So let's do that right now. So you're combat 3, right?
Right.
Okay. And then it's +2 for the rush. What's your weapon?
Weapons, another +2. The lightning tentacles.
Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I am a fallen opponent. So that's 9.
And you have a -1 because it's a coordinated attack.
Right. So I am combat 4. My weapon is +1. And I am -1 because of the coordinated attacks.
But you are bigger.
But I am bigger. So I am dice +4.
And what's your melee weapon?
1.
Okay.
So
So you should be +5.
right. So I'm bigger. So 4. Weapon is 5. Bigger is 6. -2 because I'm
-1 because of the
-1
attack.
because of the that's right.
Yeah.
So dice +5 versus dice +9.
Right.
All right, here we go. Ooh, whoa. 14 to 9. Yeah, so you definitely hit me. I've only got 1 wound left on the body. It doesn't really matter what the armor break was because that's going to blow through the armor. So the Dagathonian is dead. All right, Craig, what's next? I see a shaman trying to hide. I don't know that that's going to work, though. What do you want to do?
I'm going to try to activate a mech.
The Mantiform?
Mantiform.
Here we go! Ooh, Bort! So 1 action, and you turn the turn over. What do you want to do with that action?
Well, he's going to try to fire his cannon.
All right. Okay, Craig, so you're going to try to turn that Mantiform mech to shoot the shaman. So what's the dice math on that?
So he's 2 long sticks away.
Yep.
So I'm base is dice +7.
Yep.
But subtract 2 beyond dice +5.
Right. So your dice +5. And my shaman is dice +3. So here we go. 5 versus 3. Oh. A miss.
9 versus 6.
Yep. All right. So that is the end of the top of turn 5 for the Atalans. We're going to go to the bottom of 5 for Scaly Horde. Okay, bottom of turn 5. It's really up to the Sea Demon Shaman. I really only have one option. I'm going to try to cast an acoustic resonance zone, drop it right there in the middle, and see if I can transfix those guys. I don't know what good it'll do, but here we are. So activating on 3s. Hey, 3 actions. Okay, so the Sea Demon Shaman got 3 actions. He cast a acoustic resonance zone, which is centered on that yellow and green die. So hopefully that will transfix some people on activations the next turn. So we'll move over to the top of turn 6 for the Atalans. Okay, we are actually going to call the game at the bottom of turn 5. Let's go through the score of the game at this point. I don't think there's any point in continuing because there's no way that I can make up the killing victory points. So for the Scaly Horde, I killed 1 assault soldier, so that gives me 1 point. Craig has either killed or has made fled my leader, which is 3. The Deep Caller, which is 2 points, so that's a total of 5 there. There are 5 other models that were either fled or killed. from the Scaly Horde, so that brings it to 10. Also, per the rules of the scenario, the team that has the most victory points, or the most remaining models of the game on the game board, gains an additional 5 victory points. So there is absolutely no way that my Sea Demon Shaman is going to kill all of that beef on the Atalan side by the end of the game. So I think we're just going to call it. So that is a victory for the Atalans, 15 points to 1 point. And we're going to go on to our post-game analysis. Stay tuned. Okay, so that's a wrap for our 13th battle report in the Abyssal Realms. We went back to DeepWars this time, and we put together a faction that we've thrown together before. In battle report number 3, I believe it was, the Atalans versus the Scaly Horde. Had a very different list matchup this time, and we tried to mix things up. One of the things that we attempted to do is, to be completely honest, we as a gaming group have struggled a little bit to unlock Atalans. I think we've had struggled to kind of keep them competitive in all sorts of different scenarios. I think in this scenario in particular, and I think obviously they performed very, very well. So this was a very different list than we've seen before, and I think it performed quite admirably. I think a combination of great activations on the Atalan side and some unfortunate activations and ability to kind of move up the table early on for the Scaly Horde really kind of sealed their fate early. Craig, this is your second or third time playing the Atalans. Kind of tell me a little bit about this list and how you felt it played.
Well, I think I've definitely learned over time that if you're not taking advantage of their precise shooting, you're really handicapping yourself.
Right,
so
right.
I really, through lessons I've learned and through watching John play them in the past, that you really got to do that precise shooting a lot. Disable that locomotion.
Right.
In a lot of cases, if you can, go for those weak spots. Do the dice math. Figure out if those headshots are going to pay off or not, and take those risks. I certainly got some great heroic activations, would helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And again, those activation swings could really make or break a game. With the Scaly Horde not being able to advance early in the match, I think really sealed their fate.
Yeah, I think that really, nothing to take away from your strategy, your tactics, or your dice rolling or your performance or anything. But I think early on, kind of hitting the Scaly Horde and some leader models right out of the starting blocks, and just really some fantastic precise shooting made it a little bit of an uphill climb. I think for the Scaly Horde force, I tried to mix it up a little bit in terms of having a little bit different models and maybe not going for some of the models that I normally do. I try to get good looks on different models across the range to see how they perform. Unfortunately, with all the precise shooting and the morale checks, I didn't get a chance to see all of the models that I wanted to, but hey, that's the breaks. That happens, and all kudos to the Atalan force for really hitting the nail on the head, no pun intended, with all their shooting. So John is kind of an observer of the game. Tell me a little bit about what you felt about both the forces, the game, how they performed. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I think that the scenario played a key role into this because if there had been like treasure to grab or other types of objectives to accomplish, the model count on the Atalans might have been a bit crippling for them. When you only have 6 models, it's really difficult to peel models off to go accomplish those mission objectives.
Right.
So I think that could have been a factor into this, the way this battle went.
Yep.
And also with it being an engagement like this, it gave the opportunity more for the Atalans to castle up like they did. Yep. And normally you'd be forced to spread your models out and engage over a wider area and space at the board.
Right. I totally agree. And I think kind of from the get-go, I think one of the mistakes I made was certainly during deployment, not realizing that they could reach, with the aim shots, they could reach across the table from downtown and start picking off wounds. I think that was a factor. I certainly don't think that was crippling. But with a failed activation, a third of the way through my first turn, it's really important for the Scaly Horde, given that they're generally quality 4 models. They have got to move up. They have got to claim real estate. If you're not claiming real estate early in the game, then you're going to be in trouble. And so what I probably should have done was maybe do some quick activations just to get some board space, some real estate under me. But that's difficult when you've got, when you've got some really precise shooting coming at you very early in the game. So that's very interesting. I think, to John's point, from my perspective, the Atalans obviously did very, very well in this game and in this scenario. I think, John, you hit the nail on the head there. I don't know that this particular Atalan list would do as well in other scenarios. I'm certainly thinking of the treasure, the salvage scenario. I wonder how they would do in a breach scenario, since I don't know. I think the Mantiform can maybe breach.
Alahal's fusion blade.
His fusion blade can breach. Yeah, so I think maybe that one might be a little bit of a struggle as well. But I think this is a good shooting list. It would be interesting to see how this list did in other scenarios. I honestly don't know. Like, I think of Nereids, right? How would the Atalans, how would this list match up against the lightning speed of Nereids? I mean, you are going to be in my grill, maybe even turn 1.
Having played Nereids probably more than any other faction in DeepWars.
Yeah.
I've had previous games I've had to reel Nereids back in because I've gotten too far across the center line and into my opponent's shooting, and that's in scenarios where we've had 2 long sticks visibility. If we were doing it with ultra clear with 4, I would have absolutely no restraint on that. It would be like if I got 3 successes on a long move model, it would move 3 long sticks directly towards you.
Right.
So yes, you would be seeing charges. If you had a heroic activation, you would see a turn 1 charge.
Absolutely.
If you did not get a heroic activation, you would absolutely see turn 2 charges.
Yep.
And Nereids do have a war beast that can absorb the shots on their way in as well.
Right. Absolutely. And so, Craig, you played this a little bit different than you did last time. Last time you got pretty aggressive with your Atalans. This time you decided to hold back a little bit. Do you feel like that? I mean, obviously that approach paid off for you. Do you think you would stick to that strategy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've seen the Scaly Horde in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I know that some of their units are fairly fast, and if you either ignore them or close into range too quickly, they're going to be on you, and it's going to be all over. It is interesting in this particular case. We have 2 very different forces, one extremely shooty, and the other force extremely hand-to-hand.
Right.
And again, if the table would have been laid out a little bit differently with more cover, I think the Atalans would have struggled a lot more and not been able to get those early shots in.
Yeah, and I think I should have deployed a little bit smarter in putting some of my personalities in the back. But, them's the breaks. So I think overall it was a very good game. I'm glad to see Atalans perform very, very well. I have felt like in our games, at least, they've struggled a little bit. I think it was fun to see them perform quite just so amazingly well. So hopefully we'll get Atalans in the rotation more and maybe pay attention to some of those units, particularly with the targeting crystals. I think that helped out quite a bit. So that's a wrap. Did you have fun?
Definitely, it was a great game.
Okay, cool. John, did you have fun?
Sure did.
Awesome. So we hope you guys enjoyed this as well. That's a wrap for this game, so thanks for watching. Tell us what you think about the battle. Tell us what you want to see in future battles, either on the Abyssal Realms Facebook page or on Cranky Old Gamer Facebook page. Also, like and subscribe to the Cranky Old Gamer YouTube channel if you like these, and please comment on the videos and tell us what you like and what you want to see more of, and we appreciate your support. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time.